Another piece of news. Our captain, Bruno Fernandes. Now, it's not Mo Salah-esque. It's not stopping in the mix zone and saying everybody hates me and I've got no relationship with the manager and I've thrown under the bus.
Yeah, because Bruno's playing well.
because Bruno's playing well and he isn't on the bench.
Yeah.
But here's what Bruno did have to say with an interview with a Portuguese outlet. He says, "I can't complain. I'm very well paid, but obviously the difference is huge in terms of going to Saudi. That was never what guided me. If one day I have to play in Saudi Arabia, I'll play in Saudi Arabia." He later went on to say, "I decided to stay also because of family reasons at Man United, because I genuinely like the club. The conversation with the manager also made me stay. But from the club side, I felt a bit like, if you leave, it's not so bad for us. It hurts me a lot. More than hurting, it makes me sad because I'm a player they have nothing to criticise about. I'm always available. I always play, good or bad. I give my all. Then you see things around you, players who don't value the club as much and don't defend the club as much. That makes you sad." What's your thoughts on that, Crookie? What's his angle here? Is this something to blow up, or is he actually just stating things that we maybe already knew?
Yeah,
What's your thoughts
I don't think there's anything there we didn't suspect. It was pretty clear in the summer that Ruben Amorim wanted him to stay, the hierarchy, because they were trying to balance the books and maybe raise funds for new signings. I think would have cashed in had he expressed a desire to go to Saudi Arabia. I think he was quite close to doing that. I think it was only Mrs. Fernandez who pulled the plug at the last minute, and that's why he's still a United player. I think for me the most interesting part of that interview is the bit he says at the end where he says he looks around, there's some players who don't value the club as much. So who's he talking about there?
Exactly.
Which of his teammates?
Yeah.
That could be an interesting conversation when he gets to Carrington this morning as well.
What do you take from it, Ange?
Yeah, Carrington's going to be awkward.
There's a lot going on in there.
God.
There's a lot.
It's a hard one because this is a player who clearly wants to feel valued. And I think he's entitled to feel that because he is still digging us out of holes. Even last night,
That free kick was unbelievable. We've not really spoken about it.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it once.
Yeah, it's like so many games, and I would love to go through games where Bruno Fernandes has saved us because there have been so many occasions. So I can understand why he wants to feel valued and why that would be a bit of a thorn in your side if you're like, you know, you guys aren't really fighting for me here. You're kind of like, stay, go, whatever you want to do. But I also understand the idea of, you know, getting a lot of money for a 31-year-old. Do I trust that Ineos would always reinvest it correctly? I don't know, but I kind of see both sides. I don't, you know, we don't like players kind of, you know, speaking out and stuff like that. I don't think this has been done with any malice. He doesn't come across to me as a troublemaker, Bruno Fernandes.
He definitely isn't.
So I don't think this is a situation to kind of stir the pot or anything. But I appreciate the honesty as well because, like you say, that he said, we're not really surprised by any of it. And the idea that there are players that don't maybe respect the shirt as much.
Yeah, we've seen it. And he could be talking about players who aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, it might not necessarily be the teammates that he's playing with now.
Anthony's got to be in there. Anthony's got to be one.
Do you know what? No, leave Anthony alone. I don't think he disrespected the club or was. I just think he'd had a rough time and wasn't very good. And
Sancho's got to be.
Okay, now we could be saying we're into the right territory.
He's been freed, hasn't he, Jadon Sancho?
Yeah, exactly.
How's that working out for him?
Exactly.
On the Villa bench.
And this is the thing. I think Bruno, speaking candidly, speaking honestly, he addressed these not rumours. He addressed this situation, you know, strong when he was on international duty with Portugal, didn't he, in the summer, when they were playing in the Nations League. And he said what happened. I did get the call from Al Hilal. I spoke to the president, this, that, and the other, but I wanted to stay. I'm not driven by money. Spoke to my wife. She said, "Have you achieved all the things you want to achieve at Man United yet?" No. Okay, so we're not going. She helped him make that decision. It was very open. He also says, which wasn't in this little bit I've got here, I remember off the top of my head when I was reading the full quotes of this, he was also talking about, I could have left the year before and won a lot of trophies in Europe. I'm not going to say where. I'm not sure if that was Bayern. I feel it was.
Yeah,
so I remember when Bayern was sniffing.
Bayern, yeah.
Exactly. So he's saying, I've turned down that as well, where I could have won many trophies as well. And look, both things can be true. I was saying at the beginning of the season, I felt like Bruno Fernandes would become a bit of a scapegoat because of Amorim's plans for him to play him further back next to Casemiro on an island, not getting the best out of him. You're going to see his weaknesses extenuated and some of his, you know, positive attributes not as much. Such as Bruno's just that good, he's still putting numbers on the board.
This is exactly the phrase I was going to use. He's still
You know
getting his
what I mean?
goals. He's still
He's
getting
still
his
going to do
assists.
it.
He's adapted and made it
so
work.
maybe it's validating what Amrim's saying. Like, listen, I can afford to put you there and get Ahmad and Boomer there. Look, we're scoring loads of goals. So maybe Amrim's right in that sense. But in terms of rebuilding the team and finding money for a Baleba when we wanted him, or finding money for Wharton and Anderson, 100 mil plus, etc., something's got to sacrifice. We weren't in Europe. And I do believe if you're Jason Wilcox, if you're Christian Vivell, if you're Omar Barada, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and you're looking at
Business-wise, it makes sense.
they probably sat down with Bruno and said, Bruno, if you want to leave, we're not mad. We'll take that money, we'll invest it. If you want to stay, we're not mad. But as a player, you want to hear, don't leave, we need you.
I see both sides.
I see both sides. And then there's been a lot of people saying, remember at the start of the season, we were like, we bought that front line, but would you have cashed in on Bruno for 100 and got us 2 midfielders? Would you have done that?
It was a lot of money at the
know what I
time.
mean? It was a lot of
and
money.
obviously there's this release clause now that becomes active next summer for European clubs,
50
which I think
million.
is about 57 million. So
Do you think this will be Bruno Fernandez' last season?
I think there's a possibility, yeah.
What's your gut feeling,
there's a chance.
I think it might be.
This interview might actually be paving the foundation for that by sort of saying to the fans, look, you know, they tried to sell me last summer.
Yeah, he's given a clarity.
I've got no choice. I've got to go this summer.
You know I love the club. You know, and I think what goes
you have
in
to
his
wonder
favour,
what the motivation is behind
100%. And what goes in his favour is, one, because he's Bruno and everybody loves him, but two, he's still playing well. He's still contributing. It's not like his forms fell off a cliff. He's not in the team, and he's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet, so he just wants to. He's just opening up about the situation and probably reclaiming that narrative. Players got voices now. It's not like, you know, in the 90s and maybe the millennials before social media or before, you know, I know they had voices then in the papers and going to journals and stuff, but now it's like, it's really easy for them to speak and it hold weight and reclaim your narrative and take care of your career, because clubs will chew you up and spit you out. Fans will get annoyed with you and turn on you and stuff like that. So I get it. This is a short career. And he was also saying, off the top of my head, when I remember reading the quotes, like, in England, people think as soon as you turn 30, it's like a piece of furniture. You've got to get rid of it. You're finished, you're past it. And he's saying, like, he wants to feel that love. Like, he's still performing, he's still doing well, he still feels he can play at the top level, which he can. Never injured, always available. And when, like I said, when we need something, when we need someone to turn a corner, turn a screw, he's there to save the day every time. And people still, he's still the most overhated player in this league. I've never seen anything like it. It's only because he's in a poor Man United team. He throws his arms up a little bit. And all the other fans don't rate him. But that's fine if they don't. But when it filters into our own fans, I just don't get it. How, like, he's like public enemy number one. He's rubbish. He keeps giving the ball away. He's this, he's that. Like, you have to understand what you're getting with Bruno. He has X factor. He has this thing that, like, not many players have, where he's one step ahead. Like, where he always sees the pass that someone else doesn't see, where he finds the chance, the first touch, the ball round the corner, the ball in the top corner. Like, he sees things, he makes things happen. Yes, he gives the ball away. He's not a player who you can build attack through, or, you know, go pick up the ball off the back four and go set us up. He's not that player. But you have to understand what he is versus what he isn't. And if you misprofile him and try and put all these other stigmas on top of him, like he should be Iniesta, Busquets and Xavi all in one with a little bit of Modric and Crook, it's ridiculous.
You got to think about what he's had around him. You know, not just in terms of the 11, but particularly in that midfield area. He has carried the midfield for a number of years now. The only time I could really be critical of him was his body language when we were getting hammered by Liverpool. That wasn't a captain's performance. But then
Gary Neville said that he wanted to come off that day. He wanted to come, and then he had to clarify it, and he said no, he actually didn't. Yeah, like, it's just a narrative that's around him because it's him. It's like,
he's an easy scapegoat. But from a professional perspective, he strikes me as somebody who wants to win trophies.
Absolutely.
So if the opportunity does come at the end of the season to go and join Harry Kane at Bayern Munich, where you're guaranteed the Bundesliga pretty much every season,
you're going to compete.
You're going to go deep in the Champions League. I don't think we could hold it against him. I think he's done his time.
Absolutely not. He's been the best signing post Fergie. He's given his all to the club, and like we talk about all the time, the stuff that he does behind the scenes. For people that are at the club, the way that he seemingly does support the players behind the scenes, etc. You've got to give him his props. And if this is the end, like, it is sad, and he does deserve praise. But yeah, you can't begrudge him because he's given us everything.
I'd rather he did go to Bayern Munich than Saudi Arabia. I still think anyone who goes to Saudi is a sellout.
Oh, for that much money, though.
Yeah, but he's got enough money.
For that much money, yeah. But when you have achieved a lot in the game, or you feel you can go there for a couple of years and come back and still, now look at someone like Ruben Neves. He's gone there quite early, playing week in, week out, still in the national team, killing it. Could do a couple of years out of it, get generational wealth, and he can still come back.
He's got generational wealth anyway, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, but generational wealth.
Yeah,
like, it's a different
Too much
ball game.
wealth.
He was talking about the astronaut. Like, it's a different ball game.
Not for me. It's not for
Really?
me.
What if